I'm so happy, and I wanted to be here to introduce Kevin. Kevin and I met about a year and a half ago on a Veterans Day reading, and that's when the bromance started. We had found that we eventually had found, after a couple of months, that we were both injured in Iraq on the same day, June 13, 2004. And as he likes to remind me, he was a little bit more committed to that than I was. We can laugh at it. He started writing as a hobby, and it became a passion of his. And he's a big figure at the Post. I manage Post 134 on Alberta. Because of that, we put out an anthology. We plan to do this every year, but his piece, American Junie, he'll say it right. It's going to be in our War Stories anthology that's coming out on December 14th. So, but he's not going to read that one. He's going to say that one for our book release party, I think. But so I'm honored. I really am. And people say that, but I am honored to be able to introduce Kevin to the reading side. So, Kevin Pannell.
Sitting has become one of my trademarks, so you guys will just have to deal with that. This piece I'm going to read tonight is called Dear John. There's a letter that we sometimes get in the military, call it Dear John letter, where your girlfriend breaks up with you or whatever. I've read it a few times, and you guys are here for its semi-retirement tonight, so not many people will hear it anymore. Let's get it published somewhere. Ours was never that squiggly hearts, X's and O's kind of love. It never rode on the surface like that. It was more perceived, more understood. But it was deep. Deep enough that I feel sorry for people who will never experience what we had, and so few people ever will. We could fight, my God, how we could fight. But I never doubted how you felt, and I hope you never doubted me. Understood or not, though, I'm so sorry that I waited to say it out loud until you'd already decided that you weren't coming back. Since you left, I've battled through emotion after emotion. I'm exhausted and nauseous, and it doesn't feel like this ride's going to end anytime soon. I'm so angry with you for just leaving and not giving me a chance. I hate myself for being too wrapped up in me to see you pulling away. There are flashes of happiness when I think back on all the good times we had together. Then I feel guilty for being happy. Mostly it's just the crushing sadness. It seeps out of my soul like glue and fills all the space around me that used to be oxygen until I feel like I can't breathe anymore. I haven't even been able to speak your name. It catches in my throat. Maybe the shards of my broken heart are stuck there like a filter. What hurts the most is that I can't talk to you anymore. Not like before. Not like when we would hide out on the roof in that ghetto where we used to live and smoke hash and joke about things that probably weren't all that funny otherwise. We both signed the paperwork, and we knew we'd be in that dump for at least a year, so we made the best out of it. The hash helped. Even the random gunshots made us giggle. Or the deep conversations we had about philosophy and art and all things metaphysical, even though neither one of us really knew what the fuck we were talking about. I still call your phone even though I know you won't pick up. I need to hear your voice telling me, and it really does feel like you mean me more than anybody else in the world, but I know what to do after the beat. I never leave a message. I just hang up and feel worse for being weak enough to call you in the first place. It's not even just that. It's all the little things too. I miss how you would get the most ridiculous tattoos just because you thought they were funny, and then you make up elaborate stories to strangers about what kind of deep meaning they had. I'd have to bite my lip to keep from cracking up. People fell for that shit so hard. We were so different, you and I. I think it's why we work so well together. When we went out, you were like a planet. There was a gravity around you that pulled people in and kept them there. I'm not the only one who loved you. Your presence filled the room until there wasn't space for anything else. It was only you. You had a charm that I always wanted, and I was happy enough just to stand beside you and share the glow. If I'm honest, you emasculated me a little sometimes. It never felt like a threat, more like an inspiration. That was the best thing about you. You always made me want to do better, to be better. You always moved a little too fast, never quite satisfied with the here and now. I tried to teach you to slow down, appreciate the beauty in the little things around you. We both learned from one another, but maybe it wasn't enough in the end. We will never be together again. Knowing that doesn't make it hurt any less. Looking back, cards were on the table. I was just such a fish in a game that I couldn't read them. Our relationship hadn't been as strong. No, that's the wrong word. Our relationship was always strong. It hadn't been as intimate in the past months as it was before. We were splitting, fracturing, different interests, different friends, different lives. It's not like we ignored each other. Sure, we still talk, still spent time together, but it wasn't the same as it had been in the past. There was a distance. That's the reason I was so excited to get the call from you on the day it ended. You sounded tired. We didn't chat for hours about nothing at all or anything hokey like that, but then again, that never was really our style anyway, was it? But for a few fleeting moments, it was like old times. That's what we talked about, actually. How time goes by too fast, and why did we lose touch with friends who were so important, and why did we lose touch with each other? It was quiet. I love you. A pause on your end. When you said it back, your voice cracked. It wasn't the crack that scared me, but something else. There was a thin falsetto there, a secret that you wouldn't speak but couldn't hide. You were leaving. I stared at the phone for just a second and then dropped it at my feet and rushed to your apartment, but you were already gone. The apartment was quiet and empty, like you'd never even lived there, like you'd even taken your spirit with you. I've avoided your parents since you left. I didn't want to see them now, but there's no way around it. They're sitting in the front row. Your mother looks beautiful. You always did favor her more than your dad. Your brother's there too, and so are you. On the real, you look better than you have in months. It looks like the stress that you carried for so long has been taken away, and you finally found peace. Meanwhile, my heart is as empty as that syringe that I found hanging out of your arm. I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry that I was too wrapped up to see it coming, to see the signs. And I'll always be sorry I waited until the end to say it. I love you. I love you. God damn it, I love you so fucking much, brother. And I miss you. The stuff we saw there, man, the shit we got in together, side by side, shoulder to shoulder, motherfucking Baghdad, bro. I know how hard it's been on you since we got back. Why couldn't I see you struggle? I know how hard it's been on me since we got back. Why couldn't I see you struggle? I would have given my life, put my body in front of a bullet for you, and in the end, I couldn't even save you from yourself. Couldn't recognize that you needed it. Why do we have to go there? Why do we have to come back? Why do we have to be a couple of hardcore infantry motherfuckers, too proud and too tough to ask for help? 22 vets a day kill themselves. Why did you have to become a statistic? Why do we keep doing this to ourselves? Why did you call me while you were dying? You knew I'd be the one to find you. Why, fucking why? These questions may never have an answer. We're all on a constant quest, not necessarily for happiness, but for, I don't know, for something. Maybe it's a way to numb the pain, lidocaine for the soul. Some of us find it in a bottle of whiskey, but only way down in the very bottom, way down where it has to be empty before we can reach it, where we have to be out of control and belligerent to scream loud enough where people can finally hear us. Some of us load it up in a needle and shoot it into our veins, escape for 20 minutes at a time, drifting off into that beautiful bliss. We chase that dragon deeper and deeper because we want to get burned. We deserve that scar. It's like there's a self-destruct button between our shoulder blades, and it gets pressed every time somebody pats us on the back and tells us what a good job we did over there. This time, this place, these people, you on display in that box up front, my heart shattering into a million porcelain pieces. None of this feels like a good fucking job. I don't blame them for saying it. It's all they know how to do. They want to help, but they're too afraid to get close enough to us to see the cracks. There's a photo on top of your casket. Man, that word comes out of my mouth like a rusty nail. Casket. I thought we were through with caskets once we left country. Anyway, in the picture, you're standing in front of a concrete Jersey barrier, holding an M203 prop nonchalantly on your hip like a practice mother holds her toddlers. There's irony in the pose, the maternal protectiveness of it. How quickly those roles would flip and that weapon would become your protector. It was our first day in country. The barrier behind you has word spray painted on it. MSR Tampa, keep left, with an arrow. Underneath that, in a different color and smaller letters, some joker added, USA, U-turn and drive like hell. You remember that, right? You have to. We were such kids when I snapped that shot of you. Less than 2 years ago. Innocent, naive kids ready to go fuck some shit up. Our rifles didn't even have body counts on them yet. Our uniforms are still clean, no sewage or blood stains, and your smile is what kills me the most. It's real, man. It may be the last real smile you ever had. Sure, we sat through the briefings, we had knowledge of the dangers that lay ahead, but knowledge isn't really the same as knowing, is it? We didn't really know, as we kept left on MSR Tampa, that we were turning onto one of the most dangerous highways in the entire country, on our way to fight in one of the most dangerous cities in the entire world. But we found out, and somehow we survived. And at the time of that photo, we certainly didn't know that surviving after we got home would be so much harder than living through the war had ever been. There's a part of me that hates that picture, wants to toss it on the floor and smash it underneath my boots and scream at everyone in here, don't remember him for what he was, remember him for what they took from him, for what he is right now, laying in this box. We fucking let this happen. But I don't. The truth is, beneath my anger, I'm proud of us. Not for what we did there, but for what we tried to do, what we wanted to do. I'm proud to be able to call you a brother. I may have lost you, but I'll never lose that. I'm actually glad they chose to use that picture instead of all the whitewashed portraits of stoic men and women clad in their dress uniforms. You know the ones you see at all the fallen soldier memorials all over the country. Those portraits lie. No soldier rushes into combat in their dress blues or class A's. They crawl slowly and steadily forward in stiff new boots, carrying a clean rifle and the last bit of youthful enthusiasm that they'll ever have. And then they start to die. Everyone is lining up to pay their respects. I should wrap this up so I can give it to you before they close that lid. This will be the last goodbye that I ever tell you. I'll come to your grave and I'll talk to you and I'll reminisce funny stories about us and the stuff we did with the guys, and I'll have a beer with you every year on this day. I'll put yours on that marble slab to keep it cold, but I will never tell you goodbye again. I love you, I love you, I love you, brother. I'll see you in Valhalla. Save a seat at the table.